is the last week until playoffs for the Texans, and they have locked in the number 4 seed of the AFC playoff picture. So week 18, there's a couple shakeups that could change who the Texans might play. And they could play 3 potential teams. So let's look at the playoff race right now. The playoff spots include the Texans playing the Chargers, the Ravens, or the Steelers. And honestly, out of all 3 of those teams, I would love to play the Steelers. If the Steelers can somehow beat the Bengals, that would be awesome. But I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting the Chargers to beat up the Raiders. If the Steelers somehow win, we'll play the Steelers. But besides that, I'm expecting the Steelers to lose and the Chargers to win. So the Chargers are the opponent that I'm expecting the Texans to face. And honestly, it's really not a far stretch, out of reach game for the Texans. But talking about this week, what do the Texans need to do to get the offense back on track? Last game versus the Ravens, bad. It was ugly. 2 points. You got a safety, and that was the score. 2 points. That's not good. No offensive points. You go for it on 4th and goal. You look like you can't do anything against the Ravens. They have a bottom 10 pass defense in the NFL, and you can't do anything on them. And we'll talk about it right now. Honestly, CJ Stroud said he's been banged up after the Ravens game, which is not good. And against the Titans this week, DeMeco Ryans is expecting the starters to be out there, which I personally like. But looking at how the Texans have played the Chiefs and then the Ravens, 2 playoff teams, I don't care what the Chiefs' record is, but those are 2 playoff teams. And you have to be able to play decent against them, not get blown out of the water. The Texans, people are calling them one of the most fraudulent teams right now, and I can't disagree. The Texans' offense looks bad. The defense has been playing on all 4 cylinders and has been doing well. But that can't hinder the offense, right? Looking at what the offense has done wrong, I really don't know what to say. It's really just been injury-riddled season. Tank Dell, unfortunately, injured his knee in that Chiefs game. Stephon Diggs, another knee injury, went down earlier this year, ACL. So, it's tough to really talk about anything. But the one good thing is you have players coming back from injury. Azeez Al-Shaair off the suspension. That's huge. Big captain on defense. You could call him a dirty player. He's still a very passionate player, hard-hitting linebacker. He's a good middle focal point that I think can very open up the defense. So he's back from the 3-game suspension. Hopefully Deontay Johnson can play well. I mean, it's tough to say. First start with the Texans, week 18 versus the Titans. Maybe get him up to speed, do something in the playoffs. But let's talk about the week 18 matchup, because this will determine what the Texans do in the playoffs, in my opinion. I understand the Titans are not very good, and we could walk all over them and easily get first rounded at home. I wouldn't be surprised. However, playing the Chargers in the playoffs, it's going to take some, I personally wouldn't bench CJ Stroud at all. I would put him in for the entirety of the game. CJ Stroud has not been playing good this year. If he's been banged up, obviously you don't want to see your quarterback get drilled. So that is the only thing. If the offensive line cannot hold up because they're the second most sacked team in football, not good. The all-line has been banged up. Juice Scruggs back at practice, but he's been in and out of the lineup. You've had right tackle help with Titus Howard moving over because Shaq Mason sprained his MCL. So it's just been a lot of what can the Texans do? And the O-line has been bad. I'm sorry, but all-pro tackle Laremy Tunsil on the left side, he's had double-digit penalties this year. False starts, holding, that's not good. So it's hard for Stroud to throw the ball. The injuries at wide receiver, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, it all looks like it's crashing down for the Texans. But you have to play your starters the whole game. I know it's a division game. You'll probably take your starters out because you can't move up or down the rankings. But you have to at least be able to prepare for this game versus the Chargers. Because if you beat the Chargers and all goes well, you'll play the Chiefs off 20-day rest. And I've seen the history of it. Teams that rest their starters, they do not show up in the playoffs. And for the Chiefs, they've been a team that barely edges teams out all season. Maybe they're a different breed in the playoffs. But I would much rather play a rested Chiefs team than anybody else, to be completely honest. I don't want to play the Bills. I don't want to play the Ravens. I definitely don't want to play the Broncos, Bengals, or any other team. I'll play the Steelers and the Chargers. Steelers and then Chargers are the second and before the Chiefs. So it's definitely a tough look for the Texans right now on what they can accomplish before the season's over. I've been saying for videos since I've been starting this channel, I've been saying I want to see the Texans go to an AFC championship. Do I believe that's possible? Probably not. Is that a higher expectation than people are saying? Probably. But do they have an easy road to get there? I would say yes. Now, what do they need to do against the Chargers? Hopefully the defense shows up, right? I'm expecting this game to be against the Chargers. If we play the Steelers, great. I've been going back and forth with my Steelers on Twitter, on X, on Instagram. Steelers fans, at least from me personally, I've seen so many confident, if the Steelers play the Texans, they're going to blow them out of the water. Stop. The Texans are not that bad, and the Steelers just got blown out by the Chiefs. So I don't know what to think at this point. The Texans played 3 games and 10-day rest. It happens. You got thrown into the fire. You played 2 very good teams, and it didn't work out. Now you need to get your number 1 receiver, Nico Collins, involved. Deontay Johnson can hopefully help open that up. But in terms of this game versus the Titans, I want to see C.J. Stroud on the field as much as humanly possible. Joe Mixon and everybody else, they could take a back seat. I don't care if Nico Collins only plays the first half, but C.J. Stroud needs to play the whole game. The only reason I would take Stroud out is if he is getting beat up in the pocket. If the Titans are getting home easily and he has got like 5 pressures, he's been knocked down 5 times, sacked twice, take him out. There's no reason to injure your quarterback. But for somebody who hasn't been playing up to par, I'm sorry, Stroud, but it's true. He hasn't been playing well. And I got to turn it around somehow. And to play the Titans before playoffs, I think it's good to help get back in a rhythm. The offense has been depleted playing the Chiefs, a good defense. The Ravens, a good front 7. So there's just a lot of things they need to clean up. The run game has to get going. The offense needs to stay on the field longer to help out the defense. The defense has been astronomical this year. I don't even know if I said the word correctly, but they've been tremendous and better than I've expected. But the best thing is that all starters are supposed to be out there. DeMeco Ryan said everybody has to be ready. We'll see how it goes. The most exciting thing I'm looking forward to is Deontay Johnson. The waiver wire addition, the claim, that was huge. Because I actually wasn't expecting it. Because I feel like the Texans, so this late in the season, how are you going to get them up to speed? But honestly, just throw on the ball. Get them on a screen. Get them on a crossing route. And that's going to open up the offense so well because Nico Collins has been struggling to get open. Most teams are double teaming him. And it's hard for a John Mechie or an Xavier Hutchinson or Robert Woods to kind of take the pressure off of him. So hopefully Deontay can do that as much as a diva he has been. But he has a positive mindset. Everything is shaping up for the Texans, but it's just a matter of when you get to the playoffs because they could go out and be flat against the Titans. They could play bad again. But honestly, I wouldn't say I'm not worried, but I'm not scared because there's easily a possibility where a team plays bad the whole regular season. Take the 2020 Bucks, for example, when Tom Brady went on that Super Bowl run, if the year is correct, I believe. But that year, everyone counted the Bucks out. They're like, they're okay. They did beat Taylor Heineke. They beat a couple teams. Are they going to beat the Packers? Are they going to beat the Saints? Nobody thought they would do it. But the Texans can easily hang in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go to play the Chargers, beat the Chargers, Chiefs, beat the Chiefs, and they might just go play the Bills in the AFC Championship and go off to the Super Bowl and play the Lions. I'm not saying it will happen, but there's definitely a possibility. And for a team to get hot at the right time, it's the Texans. The defense, again, talked about how great it's been. You have Derek Stingley locking it down. 2 rookies, Kalen Bullock and Kamari Lassiter, huge. Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter holding it down up front. You have Shire coming back. Charles, you have linebacker help. I don't know what. Christian Harris. I don't know why that blanked me, but Christian Harris is back from injury. First time him and Azeez Al-Shaair are playing together, so that's something to look forward to. The potential for the Texans right now, the sky is the limit, and everyone is counting them out right now. I wouldn't. I think they got an easy path. They beat the Bills earlier in the year. The hardest game will be an AFC Championship, but that is what I'm hoping for as a Houston Texans believer, as a Houston Texans fan. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments. I could be crazy. I could be talking nuts. What are you watching games for? I don't disagree, because from what I've seen from the Texans, it's very bad. They could get beat up 40-7 by the Chargers and get embarrassed. That is the worst case scenario. However, they're at home. If you can get the run game going, Kaimi Fairbairn's been pretty solid. Just get points on the board. Find a way to keep the chains moving. Go back to simple football. Drag routes. Like, Stroud just has to go back to the fundamentals, the basics. Because I believe he can do it. And if there's any underdog story that you can believe in, it's CJ Stroud and the Texans. Because there's been so many sophomore slump quarterbacks that just go to Super Bowls. Big Ben, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes. And they go on the win. Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow, close seconds to not win it. But there's my little rant. The Texans have to pick it up. But again, it all comes down to what they can do in the playoffs. If they could show up in the playoffs, that's great. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down on the Texans. Do we have an AFC Championship appearance? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. That's probably the biggest thing that I am looking forward to, because the potential is there, and I see it. But thank you everyone so much for watching. We're going to talk about the Texans. We'll recap the game and everything, but appreciate everyone hanging out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, but I'll catch you in the next video.